Hello everyone and welcome to Business Africa, your update on the African economy. I'm Nyasha K Mutizwa. Top stories this week. A true and fair partnership between Europe and Africa. President of the European Commission, Jean-Claude Juncker, is proposing a new alliance for sustainable investment and jobs between the two continents. And then we head to the DRC, where a new mining code has been adopted, but industry and government are at loggerheads over taxation. Plus, two Egyptian ladies are breaking social norms by operating a women-led car wash service in Cairo that they say is the first of its kind in the Egyptian capital. As part of President Juncker's State of the Union proposals earlier this week, the European Commission announced a new Africa-Europe alliance. The package builds on the commitments taken during the African Union-European Union summit of last year in Abidjan, where the two continents agreed to strengthen their partnership. The alliance will lead to the creation of up to 10 million jobs in Africa in the next 5 years alone. Michael Dibier and Chancellor Ngingi give us more.
European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker has proposed a new alliance with Africa in investment and sustainable jobs to create up to 10 million jobs in Africa over the next 5 years. Juncker described Africa as the future and called for strengthening partnership with the continent and charity. Juncker made a proposal at the annual State of the Union speech in the European Parliament in Strasbourg. Africa does not need charity. It needs a balanced partnership, a true partnership. We Europeans need this partnership as well. He says such program could potentially unlock $51 billion in public and private investment. The plan comes as Europe tries to bolster economic growth in Africa in order to limit irregular migration from the continent. We are putting forward a proposal today to strengthen the European border and Coast Guard force. External borders must be protected more effectively. Migration from African nations has increased dramatically in the last 3 decades, going from just 1% in the 1990s to 31% by the year 2000.
The Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, has enacted a law to revise the country's 2002 mining code. While the law improves environmental and social provisions, revisions to the fiscal region, long considered relatively favorable to investors, were the focus. But mining companies and the government still seem to be in a deadlock over the changes to taxes and royalties, even after the law was passed. Will these new terms help the DRC to capture a bigger share of the pie, which, if responsibly invested in key infrastructure and services, could potentially benefit the Congolese people? More details with Philmon Bale and Cedric Sehosolo.
Following an overhaul of policies in the Democratic Republic of Congo, tax policies on some precious metals like cobalt have seen a marked increase from about 3 to 10%. This move will clearly increase the cost of production for mining companies like Glencore PLC and China Molybdenum. The country's mine minister, Martin Kabwelulu, hinted that in the coming days the Prime Minister will sign a decree defining what is considered as strategic metals with the likes of copper and lithium. There has been a global surge on the demand for cobalt, which is a fundamental component in electric batteries in cars. In recent years, Congo has been rubbing shoulders with other leading cobalt producers and accounted for 2/3 of the global output in 2017. Congo's southeast zone is where most of the world's cobalt is mined, but the country remains one of the world's poorest nations. This government move is stating the country's intention to tilt towards more income from natural resources that accounts for about 1/4 of government revenue. Investors have criticized the revised code, especially as it prevents them from enjoying a 10-year stability clause, which was included in the wiped-out law of 2002.
To talk more about this, we're joined on the line by economic expert Mabi Mulumba, coming to us straight from the capital, Kinshasa. Now, do you think that the creation of a special economic zone is the best way for the DRC to benefit from its natural resources such as cobalt?
Cobalt is considered as a strategic mineral. It is considered as a strategic mineral ore so long as its prices have skyrocketed. Whereas mining arbitrators had made their business plan with a cost of $23,000 per ton, at present in the market it can reach $90,000 per ton or even around $60,000 per ton. The specificity of cobalt is that it accompanies copper in such a way that the profits that are made on cobalt are a kind of return on the ore. And then the state estimated that the super profit made from the cobalt could be shared between the government and the mining companies.
Now we know there's a surge for cobalt, so explain to us about some of the prerequisites required before thinking about a special economic area.
It is a free zone with facilities at the same time with commitments from companies that would commit themselves to this zone to be able to make it a place for processing our raw materials, to have finished products with all the advantages that investors could have with this solution. It is just one alternative among many others.
Now, isn't such an announcement demagogic given the electoral context?
The sector is governed by laws, and whatever government that may be in place, the mining code will continue to be enforced. This is not related to the electoral nature, and in any case, this situation of soaring cobalt prices is not something to be sought in the short term. We had to revise the mining code because the benefits of the 2002 code had not given us what we expected in terms of taxes, in terms of dividends to be obtained from the government. And we certainly revised the code without essentially referring to elections because the 2002 code itself already contained the possibilities of its revision after 10 years.
Thank you, Mabimbulumba, for answering our questions. After the break, we'll go to Egypt, where two ladies are challenging the idea that a business that involves manual labor is only for men.